Hi, I got to tell you, just moments ago, there were dozens of anti-ICE protesters all along this major freeway here southbound on the 101, just blocking out. Some of them are going back and forth. We heard some flashbangs there. Law enforcement trying to get this under control as much as they can. It has been very chaotic here, downtown LA near the federal building all afternoon. You've had tear gas dispersed, rubber bullets deployed, the flashbangs, all to try and protect the property and to protect the people here from some of these anti-ICE protesters who are just causing chaos. Take a look at this video. Tear gas was used to disperse a crowd as some protesters threw back those tear gas canisters. This was yesterday in Paramount, a city in southeast LA County. Fox News correspondent Bill Malugin reports that DHS has an office in Paramount that they're using for a staging location, and protesters found it and gathered in that area. And in addition to all of the violence, some anti-ICE protesters were shouting on loudspeakers at officers. This is what they've been dealing with. Take a listen.
ICE out of Paramount, we see you for what you are, ICE, a terrorist organization.
Get back!
And again, a crowd of protesters, they gathered outside of the federal detention center where we're near right now. They gathered outside of that on Friday. Police and riot gear used tear gas then, again, to stop the violent protesters. ICE Acting Director Todd Lyons called the situation appalling.
So we're in a major U.S. city, and we have law enforcement officers trapped, surrounded by over 1,000 protesters. And the LAPD would not respond to help those officers in their time of need. Over 2 hours it took for them to come get there.
Well, LAPD responded to that comment saying, quote, our personnel mobilized and acted as swiftly as conditions safely allow. But as you can see, things here on the ground still pretty chaotic. I mean, you can hear those flashbangs behind me. And President Trump was very clear that more needs to be done, sending the National Guard here. Now, California Governor Gavin Newsom claims the move, sending the National Guard, deploying them rather, was to cause a spectacle. That's what Governor Gavin Newsom called it. But President Trump says otherwise, writing on Truth Social, quote, if Governor Gavin Newsom of California and Mayor Karen Bass of Los Angeles can't do their jobs, which everyone knows they can't, then the federal government will step in and solve the problem. Riots and looters, the way it should be solved. The president also made this comment today. Take a listen.
Nobody's going to spit on our police officers. Nobody's going to spit on our military, which they do as a common thing. They get up to them this far away and then they start spitting in their face. That happens, they get hit very hard.
And also this afternoon, LAPD issued a tactical alert saying the use of less lethal munitions has been authorized by an incident commander. They said people were throwing items at officers. I witnessed that, people throwing bottles of fluid. I don't know what was in those bottles, but throwing them at officers. And LAPD saying an unlawful assembly has been declared. So that is the situation right now. You got these protesters here on the 101. You got them on the bridge. There's different points, different areas of downtown that are blocked off. You can hear those flashbangs behind me. It's unclear how long this is going to be going on. And also, I just want to reiterate, in terms of the people who were arrested during these immigration enforcement efforts, DHS, they did put out some details about this. They said, detailing about 11 of the people who were arrested, they called them the worst of the worst illegal criminal aliens. They're people from all over the world. We're talking about Ecuador, Peru, Mexico. And, those people, those specific people, they say they have extensive criminal histories. And some of those crimes include sexual battery, abuse of a child, second-degree murder. So some serious crimes there. And those are the people that ICE agents are removing during their operations carrying out here in L.A. Back to you.
Christina, it's Alicia again. A question about this group that it seems to be growing on the 101 there with their signs. It's really delicate for law enforcement when they're in this situation because they're we know they're trying not to agitate them further, but they're also trying to keep in mind the safety of the drivers and the public in this area. How is it that, if you can see it at all, that law enforcement is approaching these particular protesters? Are they pushing them back? How are they doing this?
No, so they're not pushing them back. They're creating a line, a skirmish line, as I believe some of my law enforcement friends call it, and they're lining up beside each other and just creating a perimeter, protecting the property, protecting themselves, and they just they move forward and they're telling the crowd to get back, and that's how they're going about it. They're not going off on any of these protesters just randomly. They are protecting themselves. They're in a line. They're moving together. This is a very, very coordinated effort. You can tell. You have LAPD again, declaring an unlawful assembly. You have some of those officers providing security or providing safety measures, blocking off some of these intersections where these protesters are going. And you can see they're trying to keep traffic moving smoothly. But I can tell you, even just getting here downtown, I had to get out of the car and talk to some of the officers and say, hey, we're not here to cause any problems. We're just trying to get to the location where the National Guard is positioned to report on this very ongoing and important situation right here now in LA County. But they were so careful, and that was hours ago, that they had this area blocked off, because they're trying to do what they can. They're trying to do their best to keep everybody safe.
Christina,
Alicia?
Christina, it's Guy Benson, and the aerial shots that we now have on the screen, you can see there. You might not be able to see them, Christina, but we can. It looks like these rioters have now blocked off 4 lanes of traffic, an entire direction of traffic in one of these major thoroughfares, one of these major arteries. So that's a huge disruption. I want to come back to something that we played in the intro to the hour in one of our montages. Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey referred to what's been going on in Los Angeles over the last couple days as, quote, peaceful protests. That's how he described them. Based on what you've seen on the ground, Christina, how would you address that characterization by Senator Booker?
I would characterize that as wrong. Throwing boulders and rocks at officers, there's nothing peaceful about that. Shoving law enforcement, attacking ICE agents, there's nothing peaceful about that. Setting fires in the middle of the road, just running around that, there's nothing peaceful about that. The vandalism, that's not peaceful. I mean, these are crimes that are being committed here, and like the Trump administration, like the officials say, the perpetrators, they're going to be held accountable. I mean, I already saw an FBI alert for a potential suspect behind assault, or who allegedly assaulted an officer. And again, this is LA. It's a big city. There's cameras everywhere. There's surveillance cameras everywhere. So even though you got a lot of protesters out here with their face covered with masks and whatnot, police are going to go through, authorities are going to go through all of this evidence. And when they go through it, they're going to be able to identify a lot of these people who are happily, tagging up vehicles and attacking law enforcement, shoving people around. They're going to go through this evidence, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens from there. But that was a very long answer to a brief question. Cory Booker's assessment of this is wrong if he's calling it peaceful.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.